Everyone around you is losing their mind. Your feed is flooded. Your group chats won't stop. Someone at work just stood up and screamed at a screen. And you feel nothing. Not contempt, not superiority, just nothing. Like watching a room full of people cry at a movie you never connected with. You can see that they feel something. You just don't. And somewhere between the third person asking, "Are you even watching?" and the fourth person calling you boring, you started wondering if something was wrong with you. There isn't. But the reason why is more interesting than anyone has told you. Here's what nobody says out loud. The World Cup doesn't actually run on football. It runs on belonging. Think about what happens in the brain of someone watching their country play. Their palms sweat. Their heart rate climb. They feel personally victorious when a stranger scores. Personally devastated when a stranger misses. Psychologists call this Berg, basking in reflected glory. The self is a deeply opportunistic thing. It will attach to any available win, any nearby success, and quietly claim it as its own. Watch how the language shifts. When the team wins, we won. We were incredible tonight. When the team loses, they played poorly. They let us down. The ego never loses. It just relocates. And this isn't stupidity. This is survival. For most of human history, your group's survival was your survival. Feeling invested in your tribe wasn't emotional weakness. It was biological wisdom. The World Cup taps directly into that ancient circuitry. But here's what that means for you. If the circuitry doesn't fire, it's not broken. It's just occupied elsewhere. Let's talk about what's actually happening in a fan's brain during a tense match. The score is level. 2 minutes of stoppage time left. Their brain is not watching football anymore. It is trapped in a loop of pure anticipation. Will it happen or won't it? The reward system doesn't fire when good things happen. It fires in the uncertainty of whether they will. Neuroscientists have a name for this: intermittent reinforcement. It's the same mechanism that makes slot machines impossible to walk away from. You don't know if the next pull will pay, so you stay, and stay, and stay. Its sports exploit this perfectly. The near miss, the stoppage time goal, the penalty shootout, where everything is decided in a single heartbeat. For someone with a genuine attachment to the team, this is electric. For someone without that attachment, it's just a coin flip. A very long, very loud coin flip. And this is the part people never understand about you. You're not missing the excitement. You're missing the prior attachment that makes the excitement possible. Without skin in the game, there is no game. There's just noise. But here's where it gets darker. The World Cup isn't just a tournament. Every 4 years, it becomes something else entirely. A mandatory emotional experience. Suddenly, it's not about football anymore. It's about your country, your flag, your collective identity compressed into 11 strangers on a pitch somewhere you've probably never been. And you're supposed to feel it, not because you chose to, because you were born there. For some people, that framing works. The national dimension amplifies everything. It makes the stakes feel real, personal, enormous. For others, the arithmetic doesn't land. You didn't choose where you were born. You've spent years developing a complicated, nuanced relationship with your own identity, with your country, your culture, your sense of self. And now a jersey is supposed to simplify all of that into pure, uncomplicated pride? The people who feel alienated by the World Cup's emotional logic aren't cynics. They just have a more honest relationship with complexity than a flag can hold. And that honesty costs something socially. Because here's what nobody admits about this time of year. There is enormous social pressure to perform enthusiasm you don't feel. People fake it. Every single tournament. Millions of people sitting in bars, nodding at screens, rehearsing reactions they don't genuinely have. Because opting out feels too costly, too weird, too cold, too much like admitting you're not like everyone else. And if you've ever sat in that bar, laughing a second too late, cheering because the room cheered, you know exactly how exhausting that performance is. The person who genuinely lights up when their country scores, they're getting something real, something that quietly functions as connection, meaning, shared identity. But the person faking it next to them, they're just tired, and you've been tired of performing it for years. Here's what the research actually says about people who don't feel this. It's not emotional flatness. Studies on social identity show consistently that the intensity of your attachment to a group directly determines how much that group's outcomes affect you emotionally. If the group never grabbed you, the outcomes won't either. But the human need that fandom is trying to meet, that need is still there, fully intact, completely alive inside you. You've just built it somewhere else. A subculture that actually fits. A creative obsession that keeps you up at night. A small group of people who know you without performance. A craft, a world, a pursuit that lights something in you that no stadium ever could. The tribal instinct didn't disappear in you. It just refused a specific vehicle. And frankly, when you examine that vehicle closely, it's a strange one. This is the part that genuinely unsettles people when they hear it. The version of football fandom we're describing, the parasocial grief, the borrowed identity, feeling personally bereaved when strangers lose a match you watched alone, that's not ancient. It's not hardwired. It became possible at scale sometime in the mid-20th century. Mass media, global broadcast rights, television bringing strangers into your living room and teaching your brain to care about them. Horton and Wohl were already documenting in the 1950s that television was creating entirely new categories of one-sided emotional relationship, something that had no historical precedent. So when people describe sports fandom as some primal human instinct, the underlying tribalism is real, yes. But the specific expression of it, the jerseys, the face paint, the feeling of personal loss when a ball goes wide, that's a product of the 20th century, not prehistory, which means the person sitting completely unbothered through a World Cup final might actually be closer to the default human setting than anyone wants to admit. Sit with that for a moment. You are not missing a universal human experience. You are declining a specific modern invention that works extraordinarily well for some people and simply doesn't land for others. The landing can't be manufactured. And the fact that yours never happened with football doesn't mean your capacity for attachment is broken. It means it's selective. It means somewhere in your life there is something or someone that does to you what the world braced to, does to 100 million people simultaneously. Something that makes you feel like you won. Something that, when it goes wrong, sits with you for days. Something that makes you feel less alone in a world that is very good at making people feel alone. That's what fandom was always trying to do. You just found it somewhere quieter, somewhere more yours. And maybe that's not something to apologize for. Maybe that's the whole point.